For Mr. Maurice O'Hearn, merchant in Ireland, to be delivered to his bookkeeper, Mr. James Wyse of Waterford. To Mr. James Wyse, Santa Cruz, Tenerife, the 18th of May, 1744. Dear and ever-loving cousin, I have seen a great deal of the world since I have the pleasure of seeing you, having met with a great many ups and downs, and have had considerable losses and disappointments, all of which I received from the hand of God with the Christian conformity I was capable of. And with great reason, for by his divine providence I once escaped being lost on the Barbary coast, and another time from being murdered in the port Orotava by a townsman and pretended relation of ours, one William Hayes, a periwig maker, whom stabbed me maliciously in the street at night with a sword, and wounded me to that degree in the left shoulder that I had like to bleed to death. The knave was bearing at me, and I defended him with my feet and hands, which was all the arms I had then about me. I was taken up by the notary public, who was so charitable as to bring me to his house and send for the doctor to dress the wound, and for a confessor to comply with the rites of the church. But thank God, the wound happened to be in a good place, where it was easily cured in the space of 20 days. All which misfortunes made me take a resolution of embarking to the Spanish West Indies, and I accordingly came from Orotava to this port of Santa Cruz in December last. I was depending on the General Administrator's word, whom promised to procure me my passage down to Campeche near Mexico. But when it came to the push that the vessels were ready to sail, I found myself deceived by said gentleman, whom I served as a secretary for 10 months. So I went supercargo of a French brig, and bound hence to Barbary, and from thence for Saint Pierre in Martinico. But unfortunately the vessel sprung a leak, loaded with Barbary ham, 25 leagues from the port, so that we were obliged to throw our chests, wherein our clothes were, and the cargo overboard. We had the like to perish. You'll see by my father's letter how we escaped, and how I was left naked, save only a morning gown and 2 shirts I had on my back when the misfortune happened. On my arrival from Barbary to this port of Santa Cruz, I was obliged to come ashore at night in my gown, for I couldn't come in the day for the want of clothes. I went to our French vice-consul's house, where I still remain, tutoring his 2 bastard sons and doing anything else he has to be done without a farthing piece in consideration of my labour, save only my diet, washing and lodging. Dear cousin, I write this occasion to my father and mother, earnestly praying of him to send me a bill of £12 on this island. I am persuaded what you'll say in my behalf on this subject will weigh a great deal on my good father, wherefore I shall esteem your good office and endeavour herein. I will be infinitely obliged, for I protest to God I never wanted it more, being as aforesaid naked, without a dollar in my pocket, which I hope you'll make my father take into consideration. I still imagine you with me. Notwithstanding Providence, we may still be serviceable to each other, though in remote and different parts of the world. As for my part, I have all the desire possible to demonstrate the friendship and love we have compacted together. I am, with profound regard and embraces to your father and mother, Sir, your most humble servant and cousin, William Farrell. P.S. The King of Spain has given licence to the Lord Lieutenant of these islands to admit all effects from Great Britain arriving under neutral colours. Please send 150 barrels of good beef, butter in a cask, 250 boxes of common candles, 10 barrels of soap made up in beef barrels, 12 boxes of tongues well pickled and made up with saltpetre, as much beeswax as you can find, 250 tanned sole leather hides of the smallest size.